Hello, welcome to Listening English with Sari. Before we start, let me know from which city are you learning English? Write on comment below. In the bustling city of Airedale, where towering skyscrapers touched the sky and wealth flowed like rivers, lived a man named Victor Calderon. Victor was a self-made billionaire, the owner of Calderon Enterprises, which spanned industries from technology to real estate. He was the quintessential image of success, confident, sharp, and untouchable, yet, behind the steel walls of his vast mansion, Victor carried a wound that no amount of wealth could heal. Victor had a son, Daniel, who was barely 13 years old. Daniel's mother had passed away when he was a toddler, and Victor had immersed himself in building his empire to drown his grief. As a result, Daniel grew up surrounded by nannies, tutors, and expensive toys, but he lacked the one thing he yearned for most: his father's presence. One summer evening, as the golden light of the setting sun bathed their sprawling estate, Daniel approached Victor's home office. He hesitated at the door, clutching a crumpled piece of paper, a drawing he had made of them fishing together. His little hands trembled as he knocked softly. "Come in," Victor said, not looking up from his laptop. Daniel entered timidly, his heart pounding. "Dad," he began, holding up the drawing, I made this for you. "Maybe we could." "Not now, Daniel," Victor interrupted, his tone curt. "I'm in the middle of something important. Leave it on the desk." Daniel's shoulders slumped. He placed the drawing on the desk and left without another word. Victor glanced at it briefly, a crude sketch of a boat, a boy, and a man holding fishing rods. He sighed and pushed it aside, returning to his spreadsheets. That night, Daniel sat on the edge of his bed, staring out of the window at the twinkling city lights. He wished he could trade all the wealth, all the toys, for just one day with his father. The ache in his chest felt unbearable. Time passed, and Victor continued his relentless pursuit of success. But one morning, his life took an unexpected turn. He woke up to find Daniel's room empty. On the pillow lay a note in Daniel's wobbly handwriting: "Dear Dad, I know you're very busy, and I don't want to bother you anymore. I'm going to find somewhere I belong. Love, Daniel." Panic surged through Victor. He called his staff, his security team, and the police, but there was no sign of Daniel. Hours turned into days, and as each one passed, Victor felt the weight of his failure as a father crushing him. For the first time, his wealth felt utterly useless. A week later, Victor received a call from a small village 200 miles away. A farmer had found Daniel wandering near the edge of the woods. Victor immediately flew there in his private jet. As his car pulled up to the modest farmhouse, he saw Daniel sitting on the porch, clutching a stray puppy. The sight of his son, looking so small and fragile, broke something inside him. Victor knelt before Daniel, his voice trembling. "Daniel, why did you leave? Don't you know how much I love you?" Daniel looked up, his eyes brimming with tears. "You say you love me, Dad, but you're never there. I don't need the big house or the fancy toys. I just wanted you." Victor felt like the ground beneath him had shattered. He hugged Daniel tightly, tears streaming down his face. "I'm so sorry," he whispered. "I thought I was doing all this for you, but I see now I've been blind. Please give me another chance." From that day on, Victor began to change. He delegated more responsibilities at work and made it a rule to be home for dinner every evening. He and Daniel started spending weekends together, fishing, hiking, and even playing board games. For the first time in years, the Calderon mansion felt like a home. But the real transformation came when Victor decided to teach Daniel the values he had overlooked in his own life. He took Daniel to visit orphanages, shelters, and hospitals. They volunteered together, serving meals and listening to the stories of those less fortunate. Victor wanted Daniel to understand that true wealth lay not in money, but in kindness, compassion, and connection. One day, as they were leaving a homeless shelter, Daniel asked, "Dad, why do some people have so little while we have so much?" Victor paused, the weight of the question sinking in. "Because life isn't fair, son. But it's our job to do what we can to make it better for others. Remember, our wealth is a tool, not a treasure." Years passed, and Daniel grew into a young man with a heart as big as his father's empire. He founded a non-profit organization dedicated to providing education and opportunities to underprivileged children. At the launch event, Daniel stood on stage, addressing a crowd of thousands, with Victor beaming in the front row. "My father taught me that success isn't measured by what you have, but by what you give," Daniel said. "He showed me that it's never too late to change, to be better, and to make a difference." Victor's eyes filled with tears as he watched his son speak. In that moment, he realized that the greatest legacy he could leave wasn't his company or his fortune, it was the love and values he had passed on to Daniel. And so, the Calderon name became synonymous not with wealth, but with generosity and hope. Victor spent the rest of his days by Daniel's side, building a world where every child could dream, where every family could thrive, and where love always came first. For Victor, the richest man in Airedale, the greatest treasure of all was something money could never buy: the bond between a father and his son.